What if I told you that right now you could build the app idea that's been sitting in your head for months without coding, without hiring developers, and without spending weeks learning complex software? Imagine launching your very own app that could transform your business overnight. In this video, I'm going to show you the step-by-step process to create your first mobile app in just 22 minutes using AI tools. You're going to learn 4 things during this video. Number 1, designing your interface. 2, adding functionality. 3, testing your creation. And 4, launching. Let's begin. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to create an app within 22 minutes. We're going to be using AI tools to do this, and we're going to be using a bunch of tools that will make it even easier for you to get started if this is your very first application that you're building and if you have no coding experience. So here are the 4 things that we're going to break down in this video. Number 1, we'll talk about how you can design your interface, so how you can make your app look good. We'll talk about adding functionality, what the app can do, testing your creation, and preparing for launch. That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. The first step, we're going to be talking about designing your interface. Now, how are we going to do that? We're going to do this with Lovable.dev. If you haven't heard of Lovable, it is a platform where you can turn your idea into an app in seconds. So you're using text prompts, just like using ChatGPT, to create your own application. Now, you can do a lot with this platform, but you have to understand with every platform, there are limitations. So in the comment section down below, let me know, what are you trying to create? Now, in this demonstration, we're going to create a directory. Why are we creating a directory? Well, a lot of different industries, it's very profitable. If you can create a directory or curate a bunch of different tools or services in one area, that can be really helpful. For example, if you look at different like restaurants in the area, and there might be a local directory of great restaurants to eat at in your town, that's an example. Another example would be in your industry, if you curate a bunch of great tools for your industry, such as graphic design or for no code, that can also be helpful as well. So we're going to create that. Bottom line, Lovable is going to allow you to create an interface or what your user is going to be able to interact with to create whatever business or idea that you have. So in the comment section down below, are you creating something that scratches your own itch, something that's personal for you, or are you creating something for your community? Let's get started with Lovable and creating a directory. Now, we've already done this example over here where we're going to look at tool finder and all the different functionality, what you can do here, and we'll go in deep of what it will look like. But let's just start from scratch so you can see step by step how you can be doing this for yourself. So say for instance, I want to create a directory. I might just put in, and I'm using a voice command right now, or I'm using text to, I'm just using voice to text. So I'm going to say, I want to create a directory for new tools and side hustles, right? So I can put that in just a few seconds, right? We see this on the screen. I have this for Lovable, and I can click enter. Now, once I do that, it's going to take me to the project section where it's going to be building everything out. On the left-hand side, it's going to be breaking down. I'm going to be able to see a chat as it's building out. So you see how it's saying, I love the idea of the directory and side hustles, and then it's making my application what I just had. In the middle, it's showing me the code, right? So there's no need to code here, but it's showing me step by step what it's creating. Right here, this is a TypeScript page, I believe, and it's going to be breaking down all the different things that it's building out. So it's showing me the source index, so it's building out the CSS. So if you're familiar with like creating a website, we have HTML and CSS. It's doing all of these things on the back end. The bottom line, if I want to know what those terms mean, I can always chat or know more as it's building out. But bottom line, what I asked it to do, it is now creating, it is now coding for me my idea. And it's coding the front end. So you might hear a front end. It just means what you're going to be able to interact with or what your users are going to be able to interact with. right? So it's building out all of these things for me. And this allows me to have the pages that my users are going to be able to go through and everything like that. So when we're thinking about designing our own interface, just use normal language here. You can just use plain English for it to be building out what you're looking to do. So it's going to take a few moments. It's going to start building this out. And remember, we're going to try to do this under 22 minutes. So you're seeing in real time how long it's taking to build out all of those different things. Now, it's important to note you can do a lot with Lovable and other platforms like this, but it's important to write down what's the functionality that you're looking to do. And you want to have one main functionality for your application as you're building out. If you're trying to create something like the next Instagram for your industry, it's important to note remember what Instagram started as, right? It was one main function or one main thing that it could do, and then it added over time. The same thing when you're building out your own application, it's important that you're starting with one functionality, one thing that you're doing, and then you're going from there. That's crucial. So when you're thinking about the feature that you're building out, what is the one main feature, the one main thing that your user is going to do with your application? Okay, so as this is building out multiple pages, we're going to look at it in a moment and then go from there. So, what we're going to have for ours will be we want a main page where we can discover new tools or side hustles. We want to make sure that we have some kind of filtering built in when we're looking at this. We're probably going to have a saved list for all the different side hustles or tools that we find. We want uh, a a way to be able to save those tools, and for someone to save the tools, you're going to need to have a profile where people can sign in and be able to save their tools or the side hustles they care about for their own account, right? So you're going to have a place to sign up or to log into the account. That's what's important. So as you're building this out, and we'll look at it in a second as it's doing this, right? It just says that it's created this beautiful page. Let's take a look at it for a moment. Okay. Well, okay. So now we get an error for a moment. That's okay. What we're going to do is before it generates it, look where it says the error encountered an error. We can actually click try to fix. So we can do Command F or we just click that. And it says for the code present, I got an error below. Please think step by step in order to resolve it. So already when we're using this, it's already going to have a lot of the tools that will help it basically debug the code right there. So it when we said please fix, now Lovable says, looking at the error, I can see that it's related to the GitHub icon import for for React. The error message indicates there is no exported member, and so it's giving me what was the problem and how it fixed it. Now, right here, you notice it's Toolaverse. It made all of these pages for me right here. This looks nice. And I can browse the different categories. I can search right here. And also, depending on productivity, marketing, all of those things, it can bring in different tools. Not bad. In less than 10 minutes, it generated basically the entire front end for me. Now, if I want to make it a little bit more stylish or if I want to make changes, I can just go in the chat bot over here and I can chat with it and then make those changes with it. That's what really stands out with this platform with Lovable and platforms like this. You can really make a lot of great progress with your ideas, your MVP, or just a micro app all in a few moments here. So you can go back and forth. You can make the changes if you would like. You can also preview your application, but we just created that first portion right here. We created the front end. We're able to now be able to have the visuals of our application and navigate and do all of those things, right? So this is great. Let me know in the comment section down below. Are you using tools like Lovable or Bolt? Or are you using other tools like Windsurf or Cursor? Now that we have the visuals of our app, it's important that we now add the brains to beauty. What does that mean? We're going to implement app functionality. Now, we already have some functionality here. We can go to the different pages. Oh, we can return home. And if we get a 404 arrow, we can just, again, go through it and ask ask Lovable to help us with that. But we have the basics right here. But if we want to add more functionality here, we can go back to the left hand side and we can have more details. For example, we could put in this information right here. Let me put it into the chat. I can see when users select a category and enter their location, show them a list of tools or services that match. So we're having a little bit more details on the search and filtering of this application. So I can enter that in real quick. It's thinking about its life for a moment. Says I'll implement a feature to filter tools based on selected categories and user location. Let's add location based filtering to the existing search and functionality, right? So, right here, it's thinking about it, it's making the changes, all of those things for our project. That's what we can do. And we can go step by step with what we want for our application. For example, we could go a little bit deeper and add something like adding sorting by newest, most popular, in alphabetical. You can do all of those things. Now, what will that look like when we start building out the functionality of our application? Well, in just a few minutes, we're going to be able to see that with Toolaverse, but we did this with our tool finder. We did that by having a search, and then we had more custom searches by browsing by category, and we can see a breakdown of the categories here. You can also submit a tool here as well, but we can search here. We can find a bunch of tools, and we can even save our tools if we sign in and create an account. So, how did we do that? How did we add that aspect where we can save different information and have people log in? Well, this we can do a lot with Lovable on the front end, making everything look good, making it look like a modern application. But if we want to add storage for it to remember different things, we need to now add more power for the application and for us to be able to save real data. How can we do that? Well, one way is by adding a backend. A backend just means it allows our application to be smart. And for this application that we did for Tool Finder, we connected Superbase, Airtable, and WhaleSync. Now, why did we use this tech stack for our backend? Well, Superbase and Firebase we can use with Lovable, and they're very popular. Superbase is a alternative to Firebase. It allows you to scale your application and save information, and it's an open source Firebase alternative. Bottom line, if you're trying to create subscriptions, if you're trying to do authentication, storage, all of these different things, you can use that with Superbase here. Now, and you can actually start it for free. You can actually sign up and with a limited amount of storage or a limited amount of functionality, you can do this for free. And then they have other plans here. So unlimited API requests, 50,000 monthly active users. That's quite generous. And then we have a couple different things for bandwidth and file storage, up to 1 gig of file storage. Now, bottom line, if you're just getting started with your project, 9 times out of 10, Superbase will be able to handle whatever you'd like. Now, what we're doing is we're connecting it with Airtable. Now, why are we doing this? Well, a lot of times with Superbase, if you're unfamiliar with building or having a large database or working with a more complicated backend like Superbase, it can be really overwhelming. And so connecting it with something like Airtable, it will be a lot easier to maintain, to be able to make changes, all those things. And so basically, you can, in just a few clicks in Lovable, click the Superbase button here, be able to connect your Superbase account, and then you could manage it using Airtable and Whale Sync, and you wouldn't have to worry about all of the details and all the things going on with Superbase. Now, there's documentation with Lovable to how you connect it and all of those things, but simply put, it will take about 5 to 10 minutes to connect. You're going to connect Superbase, and then once you create the connection, you're going to go into Superbase. You're going to turn on authentication. If you want to have your app to be able to sign in and sign out people, I would recommend it. And then you're going to be able to set up your database here. And what I love about Lovable is you can go in here and you can say, I need to create a sign in, or I need to connect Superbase, and it will walk you through the steps step by step here. Now, once you have everything connected, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to sign up for Airtable, and you can sign into Airtable and connect them. Now, how are you going to be able to connect Superbase to Airtable? Well, that's where Whale Sync comes in. You're going to be able to sync them, and you're going to be able to do this. And once you do it once, everything will align, and it will be very easy to make those changes from there. So, right here, if we're looking at Whale Sync, to get a new sync, you're going to, well, let's start with Airtable first. Once you sign into Airtable, you can just make a base here, and you can do that by just clicking the create button at the bottom. You can say start from scratch, create a new base. And right here, I named it the same as my database on in Superbase. You can create a brand new base here. And then you can go over to Whale Sync and you can say connect source. You can connect Superbase by clicking Superbase here. You can authorize Whale Sync to be able to use your account. You can authorize Whale Sync to do that. And it takes you to a screen to just authorize. It will allow you to then ask, okay, what account or what project do you want it to continue with? I'm going to say continue. And then the destination, connect the destination. I can click Airtable. I can authorize that. And then when I'm authorizing Will Sync from here to Airtable, I'm going to pick the right base. I'm picking the base here. I can grant access. And then I'm going to click continue and then go from there, right? And so now that I've connected the apps right here in Whale Sync, then I'm going to add a table mapping here. So how are we going to sync it? What you can do here is first you can click the select table from Superbase here. I'm going to do user tools. And then over here, I'm going to click new table here. And I can have a new table. I can name it something specific. I can say confirm. Then it's going to be able to take this information from Superbase, map it over to the new table that I have for Airtable. I can view the mapping, and then I can click even right here, auto map 12 fields, has everything good here, and then I can save and continue. Once I activate the sync, then I will be able to make any changes either in Superbase or Airtable. Um, then it will sync. So I can make the changes. So let's take a look here. I can say activate sync. I'll activate this sync right here. It's going to think about its life for a moment. And then once it's connected, it will tell me it's active. And then I'll be able to go into Airtable and be able to see my, uh, I will be able to see the table. I will be able to see all of the things, how it syncs from Superbase. You see right here, my tables, my user tools right here. all of those things, I'll be able to now be able to sync and go from there. So why is this important? Well, once I have this all here, let's take a look. All of this data, if this is too overwhelming for you, and it depends on the type of app that you're creating and all those things, you can have a lot of data. You might be afraid of messing something up. Uh, you know, basically uh, really doing damage to your database, or it's just overwhelming in this view. You'll be able to now go over to Airtable that you're used to and be able to make edits and navigate it very easily, just like a spreadsheet here, instead of going into Superbase and being overwhelmed by all these things. And when I'm making the changes here, I can add new rows, I can add more items. It will then sync with all the things I have in the back end with Superbase. So if I'm managing all of my different tools, if I want to do all of these things, I can just easily do that in Airtable right there. In the comment section down below, let me know, have you been using this to create your own application? Have you been using Lovable or using Superbase or using Airtable? Let me know. And if you want to try out Whale Sync, who is the sponsor of today's video, make sure that you link down below and try out Whale Sync. We've been seeing a lot of great results with this, especially ones of different people that are comfortable using Airtable or using spreadsheets and they don't want to use Superbase to manage it. Whale Sync is a great alternative for you to create the app of your dreams or what you want for your business. And you can do this easily, all from a spreadsheet. So we've gone through three different parts. First, we went from idea to visual app. We built it out with Lovable. Then we looked at the functionality, how we added app functionality in Lovable. Then we moved on to how to power your app. And we did this by using Superbase, Airtable, and Whale Sync. That allows us to make our application smart. Now that we have combined all of those different things, it helps us to now be able to test our idea, put our idea to market, and see what our audience thinks about our micro app that we just built. So we're ready to launch. If you want more videos to learn how to validate your idea, get your first paying customer, let me know in the comment section down below. But now we have done all of this in less than 22 minutes to get ready to start using these tools. If you want to start using tools like Whale Sync, make sure that you use the link down below. And if you want to know more about how to use Lovable, Superbase, Airtable, or Whale Sync, make sure you take a look at the links down below. If you like these videos, make sure that you like and subscribe. We do this every single week, and I'll see you in the next video.